This is 18 WJTS TV. I'm Bill Potter, and I am in Ferdinand, Indiana, as today we're going to talk with the manager Chris James here at Ferdinand, Indiana. Chris, you just released last week the lineup for the Ferdinand Folk Fest, which again is September 17th?
Yes.
Okay. Talk about that.
Well, we're happy to have The Last Revel as our headline act this year. They performed, it was in 2017 or 2018, under a particular configuration which had just started that year. Their original trio, one member had left earlier that year. They brought in a third person. That's who played the last time at the fest. The third guy came back into the mix back at the start of this year. So we'll have the original trio of Last Revel playing on the main stage. They're our headline act. Looking really forward to having them and all of our acts come in. We've got, I think, a really good blending again of both bands, solo performers, guys and gals, kind of get the whole mixture going. And I think folks are going to be very entertained again this year.
And this is all on the Next Era main stage. There's also the Kiana Woodstock Market stage that there's performers that will perform there. But you couldn't do this without sponsors.
No, it is a free event, but it's free because of the generosity of our corporate benefactors. We're going to go as long as we can without having a parking charge or a ticket price of some kind of admission fee. We're going to try to run it where it is literally free. All you have to pay for when you come is good food at one of the many food booths or some of the arts and crafts vendors. If you want to buy some of their doodads, that's the money you spend. Otherwise, there are no dollars outlaid by you to get into the fest. It's all free of charge. Our co-presenting sponsors again this year, Best Home Furnishings and Master Brand Cabinets. They are diamond level sponsors, as is Next Era. They really help pay the freight, as it were, along with all of our other sponsors to make sure we can afford the artists that we bring in and cover the costs that we have to incur for like merchandise that we end up selling and things of that nature. So they help us offset those bills so we can keep it a free event for the public.
Now, I've always been impressed with the performers that you have. Is that difficult to come up with that?
Yes. That's kind of the long and short answer. Yes, it is. Some years things fall into place real easy. We say we want Bill Potter as our lead act. Bang, we got it all lined up, and then kind of fill in the blanks from there. The last couple of years, what we have run into is nailing down that headline act. Some of the performers we look to bring in, sometimes there's a schedule conflict. We had one artist that we were looking at bringing in this year. They are a supporting act for Bob Seger of the Silver Bullet Band, a little bit above our price range. And they said, well, that tour got extended. We're going to go with Mr. Seger. Fine. We're not going to say, no, you come to Ferdinand. And so we have to kind of do the schedule dance a little bit on that. A lot of times we'll toss out names. Who would we like to have or have back? We're starting to bring back some of past year's performers in an elevated position on the playing agenda, as it were. Like Last Revel, they were a mid-bill act the last time. There are headliners this year, and so we try to match schedules up. We're not going to bring in or try not to bring someone in to Ferdinand on the third Saturday of September where the night before they're playing a gig out on the West Coast and make them fly all night, play, and then fly back. We try to keep it where we know they're in the general vicinity, where it's not as much of a burden on them. And then there's also making sure we can afford them. And most acts are pretty good about the flexibility in their charge. They have a bottom line, and then there's some playroom, what they maybe initially offer and what they will absolutely have to accept. And we can be very persuasive when we need to be. Brent Seacard specifically has the golden tongue with that, and we're able to hit our price range where it benefits them to come and play, and it benefits our pocketbook to pay them, because then that gives us money to bring another act, maybe cover a difference in expense there. So it's not just a matter of ringing up somebody, hey, September 17th, will you be there? Yep. And go from there. There's sometimes there's a little extra effort behind the scenes with it.
Okay, and again, that's September 17th, so schedule it in your calendar now, the Ferdinand Folk Festival at the 18th Street Park. Chris, let's talk now a little bit about infrastructure. How is the I don't know if it's the renovation, not the remodeling, but the repaving of 162, or as I call it, Main Street.
It is moving along. All of the patching work has been completed, and that was done actually pre-4th of July. Right now, we've got a crew in. They are completely redoing the stoplight at 9th Street and 9th and Main. 9th and 162, and later this week or early next week, the crews are going to be back in and starting the milling process and then the actual paving. So looking mid-July into a period of time into August where they're going to be back going just hammers and tongs, getting the milling done, getting the paving done, and getting it all prettied up and ready to go. It'll be done, knock on wood, in time for the Folk Festival. Ideally, the bulk of it will be done by the start of the school year. There may be parts of it, maybe not quite complete, but pretty close to the start of the school year as well.
You know, that is the main street. That's the street most people travel on as they go through Ferdinand. What about the side streets? You have some monies for that?
Yes, we do. We've got actually two separate rounds of community crossings funding projects. One we applied for and received last fall, but it was at the end of the paving season, so we knew we wouldn't get it done then. CalCar Paving got that bid, and then earlier this year we put in for the first round of this year's grant, and we were accepted. CalCar, again, was the low bidder, so they can stay in town. They're going to do the 2021 fall version of our streets in August, and then from September to October, they're going to do the spring of 22 community crossing streets. And so we'll have a lot of activity on the side streets in August and September, but this program has been awesome since the state came up with us. With Ferdinand, we're a 3-to-1 match. The state covers 75% of the cost. We pick up 25%. So if we put pencil to paper and say we've got $100,000 worth of work, the town comes up with $25,000. The state covers the other 75. And we have been able to go leaps and bounds beyond where we would be if we were still self-funding everything ourselves. We got West 23rd Street redone a few years ago through community crossings, and so many of our more heavily traveled side streets that were in need of have been replaced, gotten new blacktop on, and we're going to continue that going forward. And we're in the process of applying for the second round for this year. So hopefully we'll have, the state will grant us the Mother May Eyes on that, and we'll get funding and have that be part of next springtime of 2023 to cover 2022 fall street pavings.
All right, well, good things happening here in Ferdinand.
We're trying our best. We got the housing going up with the Kirstein subdivision. I think they have 7 homes up, and another couple of lots have been sold. So it's almost a third full, or make that a quarter full. It's 36 lots, so we're just a little past a quarter of that full within just about 5 or 6 months of this year. And it's progressing nicely with the paving work going on. Things are moving up, and then folks will be very happy with Main Street when it is completed, just like folks in Jasper were when 231 got redone a couple of years ago. All of a sudden, people are smiling when they drive down the road and not dodging potholes and patches and grumbling and calling the mayor complaining about it when he had no authority over it any more than we have authority over it. So we're looking forward to having that done and have peaceful drives through town.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate you taking time with us today.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
This has been Monday with the Manager. Chris James, we're in Ferdinand, Indiana. 18 WJTS News will continue in a moment with the weather.